So, stride by stride, every person on the face of the earth is chasing something. They are either pursuing acclaim, success, satisfaction, a camera that is stable, fulfillment, the perfect vacation, or just the idea of the perfect family in a photo frame. So, no matter what we are, while all of these goals seem drastically different, they remain the same at the core. Everyone is pursuing happiness. And so hopefully I got that together. But anyhow, Ecclesiastes, I love this book. It's only 12 chapters long, very, very short. Now, Ecclesiastes teaches us that life is random, and any attempt to try and control our lives is pretty much pointless, but life itself is not. So, fortunately for us, the ancient wisdom book of Ecclesiastes offers profound guidance for our pursuit of happiness. We all want to be happy, don't we? I mean, that desire dwells deep down in our hearts. And looking at modern society, you would think that we are all relatively happy. Endless entertainment at our fingertips, world wealth is at an all-time high. 15,000 self-help books are published every single year. Now we got robots that will vacuum your house for you and then return to their little home in your kitchen unless they get stuck on the stairs, or for mine, stuck on the cords. It's so annoying. However, while life seems to be getting easier, people are not happy. Is that shocking? I'm very shocked by that. And I'm definitely not happy right now because this camera won't stay still. Okay, so sociologist Greg Easterbrook explained that the percentage of people who describe themselves as happy has not budged since the 1950s. Though the typical person's real income more than doubled through that time period, happiness has not increased in Japan or Western Europe. So in the past half century, nothing has changed. The modern world was built on the foundation of people's collective pursuit of happiness. Now, while we may have assumed that's what we were accomplishing, culture has clearly missed the mark. And so, as we launch into our study on Ecclesiastes, please ask yourself this crucial question. What are you currently pursuing to make you happy? What is the thing you think is the key to happiness locked away in your heart? Is it success, a new job, a new relationship, a trimmer physique, a different city, or a trophy on your shelf? Whatever came to mind, please write it down and keep it in your mind as we journey through Solomon's wisdom together. Now, for Vincent van Gogh, a very famous painter from the 19th century, the answer to that question came easily. Vincent wanted to be a famous painter more than anything, and tragically, his creations went largely unnoticed. I mean, he collapsed his face as he dealt with debilitating letdown and financial meltdown. He literally poured his heart and soul into his paintings, hoping they would gain some sort of glimpse of recognition, but it never came. So tragically, Van Gogh passed away in his mid-30s after a dreadful battle with depression. He didn't sell a single painting in his lifetime, but after his death, everything shifted. Now his art has gained the recognition it deserved, and he is now a household name. I mean, to this day, Vincent van Gogh is considered one of a few true master painters. His masterpieces are displayed at many of the world's most exclusive museums, and appraisals that would make your head spin. Definitely. Like, I looked it up, and one of his paintings were appraised at $12 billion. Oh my goodness. Vincent meticulously pursued his painting, but never saw the success, fame, or fortune he deserved. And his story should serve as a warning, because we must attach meaning to something much larger than ourselves. And Ecclesiastes forces us to wrestle with a pressing question. What is the meaning of life? Ecclesiastes sits on a proverbial shelf of a literary genre called wisdom literature, written by King Solomon, which was the wisest man to ever live. This book strikes a tone that shocks most readers. Why? Because it's downright pessimistic. I had to look that word up. I was like, pessimistic. What? Okay, so Solomon just seems sad. Let's dissect this seemingly pessimistic journal entries of King Solomon as we embark on our pursuit of happiness. We're going to start off by reading Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 2 through 6. And it reads, "Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets and hurries back to where it rises. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course." Bars. He had bars. He had bars. Anyways, while math is not my thing, we will write out some non-numerical equations from Ecclesiastes designed to help us solve life's meaning as we work through this study. Honestly, the first set of equations may seem the most perplexing. Okay, so as we dig in, we will begin to see an extraordinary message emerge from these two head scratching equations. The first one is everything is meaningless. Everything equals meaningless. So look at the opening line of the book. "Why are you being so harsh, King Solomon? Dial it down, buddy. I mean, people are doing the best that they can. Why would you call their lives meaningless like that? That seems harsh, to say the least." So you may think that this is just for the shock factor, but it's actually definitive to Solomon's core message. He surveyed Israel's people toiling in the sun, building their own little lives, and ultimately getting nowhere. Now, it's as if everyone was running on a treadmill while happiness taunted them from the other side of the gym. So by our culture standards, Solomon should have been the happiest person in history. I mean, his wealth was staggering. Modest estimates that suggest that Solomon's wealth would rack up nearly $12 billion today, which is only one painting from Vincent Van Gogh. Okay, so Solomon had the money, he had the chariots, the friends, the parties, expensive art, designer sandals. Solomon had it all, but he still concluded that everything under the sun proves to be meaningless and repetitious. So I imagine Solomon peeked out of his window like this one, okay, and he peeked out of his window to see all his exquisite estate, just to conclude, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. That's Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 2. Solomon drives it home, though, when he expounds on the repetition of creation. So look at his bleak description. He explains that the sun sets and rises while the tides move in and out. It's an unescapable cycle. So do you ever feel like your life looks like that? You go to work or you go to school, then you come back home, you watch TV, you do the dishes, blah, 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 go to sleep, wake up and do it all over again. Okay, you feel like your routines are like the tides and your responsibilities are like the sunrise. It's just the same mundane, humdrum sequence every single day. So how do we escape it? Like, how do we get off of that treadmill? We achieve this when we attach meaning to the mundane. Now, I want you to do me a favor. Light anything. I would say light a candle. And just picture it in your minds. Lighten this candle and blow it out. And just count the seconds on how quickly the smoke disappears into the air. The Hebrew word for meaningless is hevel, spelled Hebel, pronounced hevo, which loosely translates as vapor or breath. So think about when you exhale a deep breath in the middle of winter and the cloud of vapor pours from your lungs. Now, it's there for a moment, but then it vanishes. You can see it, you can perceive it, but it's not lasting. So it's there for a moment, then it's gone. This is why understanding biblical language is so helpful. Solomon's strategic use of hevel reveals his core argument. Everything is meaningless because it is not eternal. Your job won't last forever. Your car will break down eventually, or your wealth may run out one day. Not to be morbid, but your loved ones will eventually have funerals. Everything is temporary. It's just a vapor that's here for a moment, then vanishes into thin air. So a random reoccurring prepositional phrase is the guide map to escaping Solomon's confusing maze of meaning in Ecclesiastes. 27 times he points out that we are living under the sun. 27 times. Now, this is not just a weather update for y'all. Under the sun is the context of his conclusion. The wise king wants you to understand that everything under the sun is meaningless because it is temporary. All physical creation has a shelf life. You discover meaning when you attach an eternal mindset to your everyday monotony. And that was another word I couldn't really pronounce. But anyways, monotony. I got it now. Okay, so the world in front of you is only a snapshot of ultimate reality. The spiritual world, heaven, and God's kingdom make our vast universe look like a molehill next to Mount Everest. So live your life with that in mind and you will discover meaning. It's just like Reverend Rick Warren explained, without God, life has no purpose. Without purpose, life has no meaning. Without meaning, life has no significance or hope. Life by itself has no meaning. Life in service to God is full of meaning. Don't let anybody tell you different. Okay? So that's your source of significance. Your physical life may be fleeting. It may be a fleeting vapor, but your soul is eternal. Wake up every day with that mindset and your life will radically change. Now, I just want to end by saying this. Everything may be meaningless, but everything can bring glory to God. So we make meaning when we magnify God amid the monotony of life.